If you've been in math class and you're like, when am I ever going to use this? You're not alone. But you're also not crazy. Like, the stuff in math class is abstract and it's difficult to see applications. So I was playing this game 140 and I came across this really cool math application that people probably, it goes without noticing. And I figured I might as well share it. So here it is. If you remember the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a, in platformer speak, it's basically telling you when something's on the same level as you, whether or not you can get to that new location, right? And that's really helpful and really useful for platformer games because that's what a platformer is. You're jumping from platform to platform, and you need to be able to understand, have an intuitive understanding of how far away something is and whether or not you can make it. And we do these calculations without thinking, and it's really cool that our human brains are capable of doing that. But you're honestly probably better at mathematics than you've given yourself credit for. Let's say you wanted to understand the limits of your jump. We can do that just by running a really simple test. First, we start with creating a number line. The distance between each number is arbitrary. You could choose anything that you want. You could do centimeters, inches, whatever. I chose to do about the size of the player that you're controlling in the game. Next, we need to track how far we can jump and how high. I did 2 tests for this. I did a running jump and a standing jump, just to make sure that they were the same. And in this case, they were. Now that we have our data points, we can come over to graphing calculator like Desmos, or use whichever graphing calculator you care about or like using. And we can put in those parameters, those expectations. So in this case, hold on, let me hide a few things real quick. So we have a total distance of 4 that we can jump. And that means -2 to +2 is a distance of 4. So we're okay there. I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And then we need to figure out the height. The highest we can jump is 2.5. This shifts it left and right. This makes it wider or shorter. And this moves it up and down. So let's go ahead and move it up to 2.5. And then we need to shift it in a little bit to get it within those bounds. Now, that means that we now know what the safe zone is, and we've calculated it precisely using mathematics, or semi-precisely. So this line is the thing that we're interested in, because for a platformer, this is the safe jumping zone. So something that is within this zone means that we can reach it. Now this means that everything in the shaded area is a safe zone, somewhere that we can jump to accurately within the game. Anything outside of that is a danger zone, somewhere that is impossible for us to reach. Now that we've run the numbers, we have a chance to just kind of apply this anywhere that we're about to jump to see if we're going to run into some danger. Now that we have this handy graph, we can do things like identifying minimal jump point, latest jump point, but we can also apply this to platforms that are just slightly above us. So everywhere in the game, in order for it to function, in order for it to work, we need to be able to reach it. And the game designers are aware of that. We, as the gamer, depending on where you want to be in your suspended belief, we either need to know that information or We need to trust that something's going to be achievable, that we can get somewhere, or that there's going to be some kind of upgrade later on in the game that gives us the ability to get there. This is a rigorous form of going about showing that where we can and can't get to. So this would work if there's a location that feels impossible to get to. This would work as a formal kind of proof to yourself of going about and proving it mathematically, saying, hey, this area is not, I can't get there, I can't do that. My name's Kyle Whiting, and I am math fantasy author, and I'm currently working on a few projects to be able to bring the world of mathematics to more people. I'm trying to make it more engaging and more interesting, and I think I've got some pretty compelling stories to be able to do so. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to follow along. I'm sure that I'll have other gamer content that I put up soon, but this was just a little thing that I noticed as I was playing this game that stood out to me, and I figured I'd take a moment to just kind of point it out, because it's there, as most math subjects are. They're just hidden. You have to go looking for them. You have to know what to look for and how to, like, it's complex and it's understandable, but it is there. And hopefully this makes it a little bit clearer how.